Have you ever thought about where your pet comes from? Whether you have a cute little bunny or a gerbil or a snake, all of our pets came from somewhere, and before they were domesticated were wild animals. Dogs specifically were actually wolves before they became domesticated. When they partnered up with humans, their genetics slowly changed into the dogs we have today and went from hunting companions and guard dogs to even icing dogs and poodles for shows. Now, all animals are going to change throughout domestication, but the specific animal I'd like to talk to you about today is cats. Now, cats have changed not very much actually over the course of history, but they have bred a lot, which has actually caused a lot of changes in their purpose. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about the original origin of cats. I'm going to talk to you about how they're bred, what makes them rare, and even a specific kind of cat that is very important to showing the harms of domestication. So first I'd like to talk to you about the origin of cats. You see, the domestication of cats started about 10,000 years ago. We don't actually know when they first became a specific animal, but we do know it was about 10,000 years ago they were domesticated. It all started on a Mediterranean island called Cyprus. You see, this island was the home to many domesticated animals, but specifically cats. Now, originally, cats were wild animals and actually had a lot of predators. So when humans started feeding them to entice them to stick around to deal with rodent problems and snake problems, it was beneficial for both groups. When agriculture became big for the Egyptians and they moved indoors, so did the cats. They'd stay inside to deal with the rodent problems, but they weren't necessarily pets. They were still more of companions and only used for the need of killing the mice and the snakes. Now that I've talked to you about the origin of cats, I'd like to talk to you about breeding and what makes cats rare. So just like any animal, a cat being rare is determined on the number and how recently the breed was created. Cats breed very often, and it's very normal for there to be many crossbreeds. Several versions of cats, we don't know where they actually came from because they were crossbred and then crossbred and crossbred to the point where we're not sure how they became what they are. A good example is the California Shepherd. It actually looks like a small leopard, but you see the California Shepherd is not any version of a leopard. It's actually a crossbreed of several different versions of cats, but it maintains the look of a leopard. Now, there are many different things that can make them unique through the breeding process. There are odd-eyed cats, cats with one blue eye and then another colored eye, like yellow or brown normally. You see, when you're an odd-eyed cat, you actually tend to be more deaf or completely deaf. It's about a 60 to 70% chance. There are other different qualities that they can have, like a shorter frame and a longer tail promotes being a hunter, like the original cats, but a bigger frame and no tail promotes an indoor cat, something that cuddles up next to you during a movie. Now that I've talked to you about what makes a cat rare in the breeding process, I'd like to talk to you about a specific cat that gets harmed by domestication. Now, this cat is called a sand cat. It actually originates in the northern African area with the deserts. You see, they live on the deserts and their bodies have adapted. They can actually live between about negative 50 degrees and 120 positive. They're very durable, but also very small. Their version of a kitten can fit on your 2 fingers, and full grown, they're actually the size of a kitten. They're very small and they tend to be out at night, but we found a few and they were domesticated. They actually only lived about 13 years in domestication, and they proved that domesticating the sand cats was actually harmful for them and was bad. So they are not bought, they're not for sale, and they can't be domesticated. Now, today I've talked to you about the origin of cats, their breeding, and a special version of cats that's harmed by domestication. So my question for you, is domesticating animals and turning them into pets, is that a good idea, or are we harming them? You have the information to decide that for yourself.